and he discovered these beautiful moist wipes that you can get, which have got some kind of slightly oleaginous moisture about them, and he uses those to wipe himself after he's had a number 2. Okay, so I'm sitting there one morning and I'm reading my Racing Post, you see, and I'm sat there and I'm just turning for my piece of toilet paper. Well, I'm well done. Because I usually do one, and then about 10 minutes later I get another small one. Is that how it is?
Your hand actions. I usually do
I
one.
get a good dump. Is this how it normally is for everybody else?
I don't know.
I get a good dump, and then if I wait for about 10 minutes, I usually get another little... It finishes itself off.
Right.
Is that how it is for everybody else?
Not for me.
Not personally.
No, how's it go?
I don't like to hang around in toilets, so I don't take a paper or anything. In, bish, bash, bosh, out.
Exactly.
Oh, no.
Apparently sitting on the toilet reading is bad for you anyway, apparently.
Why is that?
I don't know. Apparently you're just supposed to get it...
You're reading, surely,
Well, you're supposed to
it?
just get it all out in one
If
go,
I'm in there
apparently.
reading Proust or Camus, then surely that's broadening my mind. Isn't it? No, well, you see, I was brought up in a house where there were lots and lots of people. There were 3 generations plus animals and a lodger. And so the only place I could get any privacy where I was allowed to lock myself in and be by myself was in the toilet. So I just got gradually into the habit of spending a good 10 to 15 in there, and I enjoy it now. It's bliss with my Racing Post. Anyway, there I am with my Racing Post. I reach for the loo paper, and as I reach, just turn a little bit, and you can just catch sight of the cistern there behind you. Oh, and there was this little plastic tub, you see, lilac coloured. So I fished it down, and I opened it up, and it was wipes. Bingo. Me and Stephen Fry are going to have a pain-free wipe from now on. So I took one out, used it. Lovely it was. Absolutely luxury. Luxury. Dropped it down the toilet, clicked on the old lilac plastic thing, put it back, made a mental note, thanked the wife, find out how much they are, because we don't have to spend a fortune on it, do we? I mean, it's only toilet paper.
Yep.
Flushed, pulled up my trousers, washed the old hands, checked the teeth, the whole thing. I'm just leaving, and I thought, oh, tingle. Oh, tingle, jeez. George Kinnell. Boy! Oh! Sink. What? Oh, wash. Picked up the lilac thing. They're bleach wipes for the fucking
no.
Because some women... It was Dettol. No, it was bleach. It was bloody bleach.
Man.
Because some people, women mainly, like to clean the toilet, especially if men use it. Women always...
well.
You
Wipes for the top of the seats.
You got wipes for the tops of the seats.
Yeah.
Don't use it on your arse.
I won't.
Don't.
No.
Where were we? Viz letters.
Yes.
Funny, Jason just said in the chat room, don't make the mistake of using make the mistake of moist wipes for the Domestos wipes. So he was reading your mind.
Yeah. I think they might have been Domestos.
Yeah.
It's evil stuff, isn't it?
Gary says he'll never be able to watch Stephen Fry on the telly in quite the same way again. A bit of Fry and Laurie, it's a little bit too much now.
A little bit. Yeah.
Gary also says that I must have lost the thread, but putting gravy on your chips is wrong, apparently. I'd have to disagree, being a northerner, I'm afraid.
Gravy on chips isn't too
Chips and gravy. You can't beat it. It's great.
bad. I've got one more here.
Go on.
I wouldn't say boo to a goose. I'm not a coward. I just realised that it would be largely pointless.
Top tip.
Yeah, Christina Martin, why is it that pubs won't serve me if I'm drunk, but McDonald's continue serving those fat fuckers? It's hardly fair.
Housewives, make the normally mundane task of switching the central heating on a little more exciting by singing "The Heat Is On" while turning it on.
I like this one. Don't waste money on expensive binoculars. Simply stand closer to the object you wish to view.
One on the email from Andrew Nixon says, how ridiculous of NASA spending billions of pounds to come up with a non-stick frying pan. In the weightlessness of space, the astronaut sausages are just going to float right out the pan. If anything, they should have been developing something that does make them stick.
Who's that? Andrew, is it? Andrew Nixon, thank you.
Andrew Nixon.
Okay. Alton Towers, where the magic never ends, or so the commercial says. Imagine my disappointment when it closed at 7:30.
Yes, that reminds one, doesn't it, of Ali G when he was doing some of those interviews. He talked to a guy who was a prison warder in Arkansas or somewhere where they still had the death penalty, and he said, does you still let the victim have the meal of their choice before there is to be? And the governor went, yeah. He said, see, and he went, what I would do is I would just have the all-day breakfast and keep it coming.
Oh, yeah.
There's a couple I think I can't read out because we've decided that we're not going to use the very worst word of all at this point unless it is completely and utterly the only word that can be used. But you'll nevertheless get a small laugh out of the fact that the letter related to Jeremy Clarkson. This is good. This is good satire. Did anyone else feel that Mel Gibson's remake of the classic Life of Brian wasn't as funny as the original? Oh, you haven't seen...
not Apocalypto, is it?
No.
The other one.
The other one where they...
Another one.
Yeah, where they crucify that bloke.
Passion of the Christ.
Yes. That's it. Yeah.
My neighbour is an odd fellow. He's got a wall around his garden that's completely covered in leaves, and every week in summer he goes out and trims it with an enormous pair of scissors. I often wonder what he'll get up to next.
No.
It's random J. Barrett, Nottingham.
Mourners read the dress code instructions on funeral invitations very carefully. Sombre, whilst only being 2 letters away from sombrero, is a world apart in tone.
You're tuned to? No, you're not, are you? You're logged on to. That doesn't sound as funky as you're tuned to. You're part of.
Yes, that's very good.
We're all contributors. Here goes the phone lines. This could be our first Human Zoo contributor. Hello, you're on Play Radio.
I still want to have your children.
Beautiful.
I still want to ask your children.
That's brilliant.
That is a rave from the grave, or whatever is now said. A golden oldie. The lady said, I still want to have your children, but in a sort of Hungarian accent. She was a staple on the old Human Zoo. That brought a tear to my eye. Fabulous. Thank you, darling. If you want to just butt in and do something off the wall, the number is 01243 55 60 60. 01243 55 60 60. James, you couldn't keep half an eye on that phone lighter up thing then and just shout the phone's ringing, you twat.
I nearly did shout the phone.
Was it ringing for a while?
No.
You just noticed it, yeah.
Alan Terry on Skype says, last week you were discussing women you fancy but shouldn't.
Oh, yes.
How about Sian Williams, the BBC newsreader?
No, I don't fancy her.
No.
I fancy her in a sort of a school marm role, but we don't go too far down that road because that's very personal. But no, I don't, does anybody fancy Sian Williams?
No,
I find her a
really.
little bit...
Anti-Tech had a lot to say about her, didn't they?
Did they? I find her just a little bit simpery.
Well, mine was Judy Finnegan from
That's
Richard
right.
and Judy,
Yeah.
and I saw her daughter,
Did you see her daughter?
on TV the other day doing
Holy
Big Brother,
hell.
and I thought, wow, she is amazing. And Jamie, who was with us last week, turned around and said, yeah, but look what she's going to turn into. And I was quite simply, well, I don't have a problem with that.
I don't know. So who else do we fancy, guys? Let's have a look. For old time's sake, Anne.
Carol
thank you.
Vorderman, but she's a bit obvious, isn't she?
Carol Vorderman is a bit obvious, yes.
Kirsty
she is
Young.
a bit obvious.
She's gotten better
Kirsty
with age
Young.
with fine wine.
Is
She's
it
done what?
Kirsty Young?
Shout louder.
She's gotten better with age.
She's aged, hasn't she? She's looked
aged
after.
well.
She's either looked after herself or played
She's
a
much
pretty.
better looking now than in the sort of early 80s, mid-80s.
Well, I used to work with her donkeys years ago, and actually, she wasn't all that sexy. She's pretty, but she wasn't kind of like, ooh, hot.
Yeah.
She had a fringe and
Oh,
Big
and she
hair.
wore blouses. Blouses.
blouse.
Well,
It's
blouses.
a lovely blouse you're wearing.
Blouses and skirts and shoes and things like that. But she's definitely funked up a little bit, hasn't she?
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, you need to do one of those.
Yeah, I do. And then
Because
when we
it's
come
almost time
back,
for one of those.
what's the latest on crossing live to the United States? Handing over to John Wright for
Well, we're
10
going to give it a
minutes.
go. John's all ready and set to go, so we'll see how it transpires.
Okay. That tuned, logged on to part of Play Radio. That tuned.
How would you like to tell millions of people around the world about your company and what it does? PlayRadioUK.com can get your message to over 1 million listeners every month from under £1,000. So harness the impact of internet radio today, get ahead of the competition and increase your sales and